Greetings and salutations and welcome to my workshop. In this video we're going to be working on part 2 of the plan. And if you didn't know, the plan is making a magic 8-ball disguised as a cyborg lady which is torn apart and living in a test tube. Yeah. So, the last video we made the test tube over there. So now we're going to be working on the sci-fi lady. Yay! So yeah, this video is probably just going to be an how to be a psychopath, because we're going to be using this mannequin and transform her with a bunch of trash and a bunch of other stuff to make her look like a cool sci-fi lady which is going to be living there. So first, let's perform some surgery. Yay! So, step 1 into becoming a psychopath is choose a target. For me, it's going to be this mannequin. And step 2 is going to be figuring out which body part you want to keep. Because, yeah, you're not going to just hack away. So, for me, it's going to be the head. So, this part. It's going to be the chest, like so, I think. And then also a piece on the back. So, yeah, let's get cutting. So yeah, now that we're done with this murder scene, let's figure out how we actually can make this look less grim. Okay, so as you can see, I basically collected a bunch of plastic trash over the course of, I think, a month or something, and some other, toys I had laying around, because, why wouldn't you own a super soaker? So yeah, with all of this trash, we're going to be making a very cool sculpture, so let's see how that goes. Okay, first let's disassemble a few things and see what kind of components we have in order to fix up you. Trash or treasure? Lots of trash. All trash. Just garbage. But sci-fi looking garbage. Yeah. You're gonna be so cool. So in order to start this entire process, I'm first gonna build the neck, and I found the perfect piece for that. This is an old vacuum cleaner head. However, it's very jiggly and wiggly because I want the neck to be able to move, because there's gonna be a motor inside of it, so it can kind of kick back and shake a bit like she's having a seizure, because yes, we're still gonna go the grim part. So yeah, first the neck, and then from there we're gonna kind of build it out and to see how far and how tall I can get. So let's go. So I removed the bottom section from this part of the vacuum head, and now I have this little attachment that can go onto that little attachment. So let's attach. So I glued a PVC pipe, as you can see here, to a piece of an old parasol stand. So yeah, this is going to be inside of the head, hopefully, which causes the head to actually have a tilting function. And then attached to that is going to be the neck mechanism right here. God, this looks stupid. Okay, so with a whole lot of glue, the neck mechanism is in place. Now, we've got the hinge from the parasol thing, we've got the hinge from the vacuum head, and we also got the PVC pipe inside of the head. So I'm still gonna fill this up with expanding foam, I think. But yeah, currently Okay, so you probably didn't realize it, but that time lapse took quite a while. So apparently it takes a buttload of time to actually glue some plastic together, because most of my other projects have been just metal, because, you know, Stacy over here is purely metal. So this entire lady was just like, oh yeah, I got a piece of iron, I just slap it on there, it's fine. But this takes forever. So yeah, I realized that time lapses don't really work, so let's try a different approach. For instance, this part of the neck still needs to be filled up, and I know exactly what can fit there. The mouth of this fish bubble machine, yeah, can go right there. And as you can see, it fits perfectly. Okay, so with the neck slowly taking shape, we kind of have to look at the proportions of the entire doll, the crazy cyborg. So I put the murder remains inside of the tank, as you can see, and I've also put a big smiley on top of it just to make it extra creepy. But as you can see, it's pretty tall. It's way too tall actually. So we kind of want it to be about here, I think. So I've placed a line on the abdomen. Oh, sorry, shaky hands. And that's basically how far we can actually go with the entire doll model thing. So just about yay, I think, something like that. So yeah, let's slap this thing together. So yeah, with our beautiful Power Max Deluxe, we can actually make the back of our fantastic mannequin, because I think that this part is going to be beautiful for the shoulder pieces. So let's remove that and say goodbye to the Power Max Deluxe. But I guess I also have to say goodbye to these beautiful rippling abs that I'm about to get, but no, everything for the project. Okay, so I probably should have measured it, but the shoulders are way too big. So I'm gonna cut off a piece and then hopefully it's the right size. Okay, so now with the Power Max Deluxe pieces in place, you can see that's kind of bulking up already, because this is basically just filler plastic, because I want to get the correct shape of the back in there first. So I'm just gonna be placing some plastic pieces everywhere, and I'll get back to you. And bam, just as you can see, a whole lot of plastic parts. So I used a few bubble machines. This is the canister for Super Soaker. These are parts from a parasol. This is a part from the vacuum cleaning head that's in here. But hey, what's this? Huh? Oh, would you look at that? It's an idea. So yeah, we can all agree that this looks like ass, real bad, but it's gonna look good because of my idea. I'm gonna use the underside of this mannequin that I still have, luckily, and hopefully it's not too large for my tank because the width of this girl's shoulders is already kind of wide, but it still fits. So hopefully when everything is coming together, it might look pretty cool, but who knows? Okay, so slight issue. I've got the piece that is needed for, basically finishing or making it seem like it's finished, the entire doll. However, if I attach it to the lovely lady over there, she's gonna be too tall for my tank because my tank is only 70 centimeters. If I attach it to the lady, the bottom part, she's gonna be 70 centimeters, which is just a bit too much because I want some clearance on the top and on the bottom half. So I've decided to rack this piece on the bottom side. So let's break it. So yeah, let's break this bitch. Okay, I didn't expect mannequins to be this tough, so let's just break it with some pliers and it's fine. So I don't actually know what mannequins are made out of. I don't want to assume fiberglass, but I'm thinking fiberglass because after I did that with the tongs, ripping the mannequin apart, my hands started to itch kind of badly. So I washed them and I put on a podcast. And just like everybody else who listens to a podcast, they kind of forget what they're doing and kind of go into a flow. So I was building up the mannequin. And I kind of forgot that I had to film stuff for my YouTube video. So now it's attached, but also it has a back piece. So yeah. So now looking at her in her tank, you can kind of see that her shoulders are very flat and not actual human shaped. So I think I'm gonna remove that shoulder piece that I put on there and kind of bulk up her shoulders a bit more and then place it back because this just looks kind of silly, Nah, that's not what we're going for. We're going for realistically weird. Okay, so currently I'm at a stage in this project where I don't actually know what I'm doing next because I can't really visualize the entire process because it's always just on the table. So I thought about it and I made a few of these little legs with bent tubes and everything and a few cables and a few other stuff. And I'm gonna all secure it with some expanding foam because then this entire bottom part is gonna be filled and she can actually stand on her own, which is pretty good. So let's do that and see where we go from there. Okay, so for safety reasons I had to move the mannequin because I don't want it all dripping on my table, but I don't think it's gonna expand anymore because it's still sort of soft, but it's also slightly hardened, so who knows? I'm gonna let this rest and then we'll see what the eventual damage is. Okay, so this works pretty good, as in it looks pretty solid. However, I don't like the eyes. The eyes are very mannequin-esque, so I got an old VR glasses. They're kind of broken, so don't worry. So I'm gonna rip this baby apart and use the front side because they already got some sort of camera lens eyes, which I think it's gonna look pretty good. Okay, so I just removed the entire VR headset and look at this beauty. Look at how cool this is. Oh, I so desperately want to use this. However, it's kind of chunky, as in my hands are kind of big and it's just straight up my hands. So, I don't know, maybe, but it's very cool. I've been holding this for 10 minutes. It takes so long to dry. Okay, this just got really cool. Look at her face. Oh, it looks so much creepier. Ooh, it's so cool. Oh, the built-in VR headset. Oh, it looks so sick. I love the cameras as eyes. It's so cool. Yeah, this is gonna be it. Okay, so a lot has happened between this clip and the previous one, and I want to talk to you about it. First, I've coated this beautiful lady in a sort of glue-like substance, so everything has the same base coat. And once that's fully cured, I'm gonna spray paint the entire thing white, so every gap and seam and ugly part is very visible. And then I'm gonna go with a 2-part epoxy clay to basically fix her face and everything else. And also that little acrylic tube that you saw, I put it at the bottom of this tank. I glued it in place, so that's fully secured, because I also got a cool button, but because I've used a lot of expanding foam in this girl, as in her head, her face, her chest, her underside, everything has expanding foam in it, and expanding foam floats. So that little piece of acrylic with all of the holes in it, and these things are going to be basically the tether for the balloon that's going to be this cyborg. So she's actually going to float inside of the water and being held down by these pins with fishing wire in this little loop, and then through the hole, and it's all secured and safe and everything. And that also means, because she's free floating, all of the engines or motors inside of her are just going to do their thing without being hindered, which is super cool. So yeah. Also, a buddy of mine, Thomas, this dude, has decided to help me with the programming, because I'm not a whiz kid when it comes to computers. I mean, I can make a motor move, I can do some LED stuff, but something like a randomizer, I kind of don't know how to do. I mean, I could always ask ChatGPT, but it's fun to include other people in your projects. So he's gonna help me with the programming, and that's gonna be super handy because the dude is a professional programmer, so hey, for me. So now let's turn our attention back to this lovely lady, and all of these colored parts are gonna be all spray painted with just a simple whoa. What up? Look at this thing. So it's still wet, so that's why the tape is over here, but I had to remove the tape on the front of the face just to see how cool this looks. Ah, so good. Yeah! Look at this scary lady. She looks so cool. Oh, So yeah, like I said, the next step is going to be the two-part epoxy, and after that it's going to be decoration. And with what I mean by decoration, I have some aluminium paint or some silver paint, and I'm going to add some creases and cracks and basically battle damage, because these parts where the arms used to be, that's not going to be white. That's going to be very gritty and gross and murky and disgusting. It's going to be so cool. But I have to let this dry, so that's basically it for today. So I see you probably tomorrow. Who knows? Okay, so the day has finally come. I've got my two-part epoxy clay right here. So now I can fill up all of the nasty ass gaps that is basically everything on this doll. And a buddy of mine, Jean-Paul, very cool guy, he showed me a few tricks to make some fleshy bits, I guess, which is also going to be quite nasty. It's going to be great. So let's get to it. Look at this shit! And the light on the... it looks so cool! So, none of the electronics are actually in. I just used some of the LED that I still had laying around to see if it's bright enough for the tank. And this purple is going to be the idle color, basically. So once you've hit the button, the tank will turn. The tank will turn green if the answer to your question is yes. And also, on the down low, yeah, it's so cool. And if the question or the answer to your question is a no, the tank turns red, as you can see. Very cool, very cool. I really like the bottom lighting as well. It's very fancy. However, this means no to your question. However, we have a third option, which is yellow. And we've got the yellow. I think this is more lime green. So we're gonna have an LED controller basically telling this thing, hey, the yellow needs to be more yellow. And also, the yellow is not gonna be... Wait, let me explain this differently. So, as I've probably told you about 100 times by now, the tank is gonna have three functions, the yes, the maybe, and the no. However, I don't want the maybe to be 1/3 of the options, if you understand what I mean. This one is gonna be about, I wanna say 40%, something like that. This one is gonna be 40% chance to get it, and the yellow is gonna be about 20%. So you're actually gonna get an answer more frequently than a, I don't know, maybe answer. That's very bad how I explained that. That's awful. Hopefully you understand. So yeah, I think this purple is gonna be the best color for the idle animation, or the idle stage of this tank. The button is also gonna light up, so that's kind of inviting, right? You see this from a distance and you think like, what is this weird thing? What? Oh, it looks so good. Also, all of the clay parts that you currently see are all gonna get painted. This entire thing is gonna be decorated more, and more paint and more other cool stuff. However, currently I've just been working on some fleshy bits and some more torn skin. This is a buddy of mine made this, just to show me how it's done. More cables are gonna go from the head to the neck to basically fill out that curve. So lots of work to do, but just this little bit of light makes a world of difference. Look at it, it's so cool. Okay, so to clarify, this tank, or tank device, whatever it is, has now 2 of these string LEDs. So this is basically a giant LED that is coiled around in a circle. Hopefully you can see it, probably not because of the lighting, but you can see it on the back side if I turn it off. Like that. That is the string lighting all coiled up. And there's also one up here. Like so. Whoa. So that provides all the lighting that I need for the entire, well, I guess indication light to indicate whether it's a yes, a no, or a maybe. Okay, so I'm done with the entire clay process or the claying, or the sculpting, I guess sculpting. So now the clay needs to cure, and once that's cured, we can sand everything smooth, so everything has a nice transition, and we can start painting. So that's almost the final step. Oh, it's hair! Now, of course, these beautiful locks are not for me, of course not. No, it's for our lovely lady over here, who is sadly, just as me, balding, or balding, just bald. But yeah, I thought pink would be a pretty cool color, because, I don't know, kind of vibes with the entire white of that she is. And also, I like this kind of haircut. It makes it look kind of futuristic, kind of cool. So yeah, we got that going on, which is sick. Okay, so let's put in some more lights and see this thing light up, hopefully. Okay, so don't laugh at me because I don't actually own a electronic soldering iron, so I had to do it with the big one over there. However, with the stuff soldered to some long cables, we can actually thread through the entire dummy and to its corrective place. So let's do that real quick. And just like that, we have another LED. Whoa, it's the core. Yeah, so with just a few more LEDs, this entire thing can be lit up. And then it's the final stage of painting. And once that stage is done, it can finally be put in a tank and we can figure out all of the motors that are going to be on top of the tank in the sphere over there, or the half sphere, and then being attached to the neck and to the back of the cyborg lady. Ain't it sick? Also, let's test out this wig on the thing. So I don't actually know if I like this look of her. However, the wig is still not styled or anything like that. I think I'm going to go to a hairdresser, an actual hairdresser, to get that done. But, you know, it's a bit of color in the entire white piece. And also, the flow of the hair is going to look so cool with the motor and the oil. So I think I'm going to keep it, and I like the color. It's just, you know, pink. Okay, so a lot of stuff has happened in between clips because I got sick, and then also Christmas and a lot of other stuff. But the girl is now finally done, except for her hair and the final coating that's going to be on top of this. So let's tape up the lenses and a few glass bits that she has, and then let's spray paint her. Yay! So you guys remember that how to be a psychopath tutorial? This is part 2. So I've suspended her from a wire that you cannot really see. It's over there. So now she kind of hangs, which is very good, because now I can go with a varnish and just basically spray her and basically seal all the stickers that are on her, because I've placed some cool stickers all over the place, teeny tiny ones and other ones. So yeah, let's seal her and then she's done. Ooh! Okay, it's the end of the episode. And you're thinking, Ludo, where's the end result? Well, it's this. And the only reason why I can show you it like this is because the cyborg is already done. So the reason why the cyborg is actually done already is because at the same time I was working on the cyborg, I was also working on the tank itself, because there were some things that need to be fixed or and added as well, such as a speaker and some other stuff. And basically I just didn't stop working after the cyborg was done, and I just kind of continued and continued, and I just didn't release this video, and I was working on it at the same time, so it kind of intertwined and was difficult to figure out where to end it. And because of that, the cyborg is done now. And I cannot show you the end result because that's for next video. But don't worry, next video is not going to be 7 months from now, because I've got all of the video ready for editing, and it's going to take, I want to say, maybe 1 or 2 weeks before the next video, but it's all going to be okay. So I want to say thanks for watching, and I hope I see you in the next one, and goodbye.